Personal Letters, Part 5. So I thought I would be better talk to her like you do to horses. I sang Click Go, the shares, and the Liza liked it as much as Millie at the dairy does. But she stopped sucking and listened. Then I told all my Attila home poems, you know, the ones Miss and I listened. Then I told her all my Antilla and the hum poems, you know, the ones Miss James would let me put in the school magazine. When the bottle was empty, she capped her mouth tight on the rubber part and wouldn't let it go. When I pressed it loose, guess what I found? She had a root, a teeny little, only as big as the shirt button. It's a sort of a clever growing, a tooth in your sleeve, and only being a few months old. She wasn't a bit sleepy after her bottle and made a fuss when I bunged her back into her cot. She wasn't a bit sleepy, so I took her outside on the lawn. She can't roll over. I didn't know she could do that. She's always been in the cot or the pram when I've been over there at her house. Then brainwave, I thought maybe I could teach her to crawl. So I put my guava claw keyring just over to reach, and Liza sort of pulled her legs up under her tummy as though she was planning to take off after it. So she learned to the basics anyhow, and it was me why she thought so. I took Liza inside and put her in her cot. She yawned a couple of times and went off to sleep. She sort of smiled at me before she did that. It looks better now. She has teeth, or at least one tooth. Liza is okay, I guess. I didn't go back to Aunt Winifred because I knew I couldn't leave Liza there on her own. Too many things could happen. For instance, number one, someone could nip in and kidnap her. Number two, she could have a bad dream and get caught up in her mosquito net. Number three, she could bite herself in her sleep with that new tooth. Number four, she was just too little to look after herself. So I stayed there and looked after until Aunt Winifred brought Mrs. Lenzel. Mrs. Lenzel's home in a plaster cast. I'm going over there tomorrow to help until Mrs. Lenzel's mom arrives to take over. Love from Penny. Understanding the test. Answer these questions to learn more about Penny Pollard's letters. Reading for details. Number one, where does Penny write the date of her letter? Number two, how does Penny begin her letter? Number three, what was Mrs. Lenzel's about to do when Penny arrived? Number four, how did Mrs. Lenzel's break her arm? Number five, why did Penny think Aunt Winifred would be cross with Mrs. Lenzel? Number six, what did Penny teach Liza to do? Number seven, why did Penny think Liza was a good company? Number eight, how does Penny conclude her letter? Reading for meaning.